Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Connect to Florida. Today we're going to be talking about the actual cost of owning a condo in Florida. And in particular, I am speaking to the southwest coast of Florida. And even getting a little bit more drilled down than that, I'm going to be giving you actual numbers so you can kind of plug these in and sort of mix and match them a little bit if you're going to be buying inland. But we're talking about maybe somewhere 10 miles from the coast and closer. So that's the cost that I'm going to be breaking down for you today. And like I said, I'm going to do this in a way that you can kind of swap out numbers so that you can try to make it make sense for you. If it's a little too high, or maybe you've got a little more budget, you can play with numbers. We haven't done a video here on this channel breaking down costs for a while. I did one a couple years ago on how much it costs to own a single family home in Florida. Those numbers are probably not even close to right anymore. I'll link that video down below in the description box if you have not seen that one. But maybe I'll do an updated video on single family home ownership as well. And if there's anything in particular that you want me to break down, like maybe a different area, the area that I'm talking about today, like I said, is going to be specific to the southwest coast of Florida, from about 10 miles away from the coast and closer in. Now, I would say that these numbers are pretty darn close to the southeast coast of Florida as well. So I'm pretty familiar with Boca Raton numbers, West Palm, Highland Beach, up and down in through that area. I would say that we are within 1 to 3% of that number as well, because I know many of you that watch this channel also are interested in that coast. So you can probably plug these numbers in for that as well. All right, let's jump into this. Okay, now, before we get into these numbers, if this is the first time we're meeting, let me introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for over 26 years. So hopefully I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate this ever-changing cost of living here in Florida. Now, if you are not ready to do something immediately, but you need somebody that you can trust that's going to give you not the brochure answers, okay? You can get that on any channel. Any channel is going to tell you all the great things about Florida and why you should move here. That's not what we're doing on this channel. What we do here is actual reality. So if you've got some questions that you need answered, I do consultations all day long. I will leave a link right here. Some of the common things that we're talking about on these consultations are people that are kind of caught between 3 or 4 areas, or 1 or 2 areas. They're trying to figure it out and they don't know what they don't know. So they need somebody they can get the answers from, but not necessarily somebody that's going to send them a text message, literally every week. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? So if you're kind of on the fence and you just need information, I'll have the information down in the description box. Happy to help. All right, so let's jump into some real actual numbers that we can work with. So let me start by telling you a couple things that you should know, and I'm going to look at my notes here. So in 2023, the average cost of a condo in Naples, Florida was $739,000. That is the average in Naples. Now, please understand, yes, she said average. Can we find one lower? Yes, we can. This is what the average is. The average in Sarasota was $699,000. Now, because I am a person that believes that prices are going to come down, and because I think that depending on where you're looking, real estate in Florida is extremely hyper local, but I think you can definitely buy something in terms of a 2-bedroom and a den, 2-bath condo that's updated, reasonably updated, for in the ballpark of $450,000 to $500,000. So that's the number that I'm going to focus on, is right about 400, let's just do 450,000. That's what we'll run numbers against. And I just want to give you a little bit more data. As of the filming of this video, today there are 148 condos that are 2 bedrooms and a den, 2 baths, 1,300 square feet or more on the market. 148 in Naples. Right now, today, between 450 and 500,000. So that's a decent amount. You've got a lot to choose from there. Also, these condos have your typical amenities that you're going to get in Florida. So I did not pull out condos. I did not include anything that's got, super expensive club membership, like a $65,000 downstroke to join. I eliminated those. So these are going to be your typical average 2 bedroom and a den, 2 baths, nicely updated, 1,300 square foot plus condo. And that tends to be what most people are asking for. Nice pool, resort style pool, walking trails, nice landscaping, little fitness room, tennis, pickleball, your typical things. All right. So here are the real numbers. So at $450,000 in your condo acquisition, and I'm going to assume that you're going to fund that with 20% down. So we're going to do the loan amount as of today with 20% down. So $2,216 is going to be your mortgage payment with 20% down on a $450,000 condo. Now, remember, you can interchange some of these. So if you spend a little more, you spend a little bit less, you get taxes that are different than I'm mentioning. These numbers are a kind of a set point for you to play around with. Now, 2,216. But wait a minute though, Barrett. Did we include taxes? Did we include insurance? Did we include a CDD if they have one? We need to add that in. So on top of the 2,216, we're going to add in $500 a month in taxes. That is about the average. Now, if you homestead, meaning that you're going to make Florida your homestead, you live there 6 months and a day, then you're going to get a little reduction in your taxes. But what I did was I just basically took the average in the condo that I mentioned with all the what I just mentioned about bedrooms, bathrooms, you know what I mean. So about $500 a month we're going to plug in our taxes. And for insurance, I'm going to use $150 a month. Now, I think that's pretty darn close because remember, with a condo, you don't have to insure the roof. So unless you buy some weird product, which they're out there, you need to work with a good agent. I say this all the time. There are weird products in Florida where you think the roof's covered and it isn't. And that's why you have to make sure that you get the bylaws, the rules, the regs, the whole bit. So make sure you're working with a good agent. We can always refer you to somebody if it's not me, but that's super important. So insurance, generally on a condo, you're going to insure what we call studs in. So you're just basically insuring contents. If you bought a condo that came with a bunch of furniture that's like second, third hand, do not over-insure that. I mean, that's just crazy. A lot of times people will say, well, that's not enough to insure the contents. But what are you really insuring? Somebody's, used grandma's wicker couch? Don't overdo that. So on that, we're adding $150. So now our total mortgage payment, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, is $2,866. So let's go ahead and plug that in. Average HOA. The average HOA right now in Southwest Florida from Sarasota all the way down to Marco Island on average is about $605. So for that $605, what are you getting? So you're generally getting the exterior taken care of. So the painting, any repairs that need to be done, you should have the roof included at that number. The landscaping, the pool, the amenities, all of those things are generally included in that fee. Now here's of course, grass cutting. And then here's the other thing that is helpful. We don't generally have gas, natural gas, in Florida, in the area of Florida that I'm talking about. Most condominiums are all electric. It's really, really rare to see natural gas in a condo. So 0 on the gas. And then most condominiums, all of them are different, but most of them cover water, sewer, trash. Now some of them, so I'm going to give you 0. We're going to plug in 0 for water, sewer, trash. On cable, most of them will give you basic cable. Not all of them, but most of them will. Some of them will give you internet. I'm going to plug in $100 for cable and internet because a lot of people like to upgrade their cable. They just have their programs they like to watch. And same thing on internet. You're going to get the basic on these, and the basic's decent. But if you're streaming or you watch YouTube TV or Hulu or Roku or Netflix or all these things, you usually do need to upgrade. So we're going to plug in 100 there. Now, what if you bought one of those condos that comes furnished and it has third-hand furniture in it, and you're like, listen, I'm not sleeping in somebody else's bed that has been used 3 times over. I'm just not. So you need to get new furniture. You're just somebody that, you know, this is your fresh start in Florida and you don't want used furniture. So I'm going to plug in $15,000, which, listen, that might be low. It probably is low, but I want to shoot this a little bit low because you can get creative with it. There could be a couple rooms that you like the furniture. You could be keeping televisions. Bathrooms usually are not expensive to furnish. So I'm going to use $15,000. Rooms to Go is a pretty decent place to get average furniture. Now, if you want to knock it out of the park, you're going to need to plug in a much higher number there. We're going to use $15,000. So if you were doing a little financing, I'm going to just put that in at $300 a month. And even if you're not buying all new furniture, you're probably going to buy some. You might want to paint some rooms. So we're just going to put in $300 a month for sort of maintenance around the place for you personally. And then the last one that we need to plug in is special assessment. Now, are you going to get one? I don't know. Has one already come into play? Maybe. We don't know. So I'm going to plug in $150 for something that happens. A tropical storm comes through during your ownership. Nothing major, but they need to redo all the flowers and the trees and the landscaping. Maybe some shingles come off the roof, whatever it is. We're going to plug in $150 just so that we have you covered a little bit. So the grand total, where are we? The grand total is $4,191. Not that bad, is it? Is that better than you expected? Now keep in mind, you can plug numbers, you can mix and match these numbers, move things around. I can't think of anything else in a condo that I have not thought of. I can't think of anything else that needs to be put into condo ownership. So that's about the number. That is not that bad, especially if you buy a condo, and this is really important. If you buy a condo that is updated, newer, like let's just say less than 20 years old, and it has impact resistant doors and windows, and the upkeep has been good, and the HOA has been strong. Nothing where it was $250 a month and then they had to take a jump to $500 a month because they were underfunded and mismanaged. And there's ways to protect yourself on this. But if you buy something that looks well maintained, it's been well maintained for a long time, you ask your agent about the history of the HOA, have fees been going up or have they been pretty solid, pretty steady, then as long as you buy something that's not sort of in the direct path of where a hurricane usually goes. And yes, hurricanes are hard to predict, of course, but if you're a little bit off the coast, you're not in an area that tends to get storm surge, you're willing to be about 3 miles off the coast, and it's a newer property that's already had their engineer's report done, then these numbers are pretty solid for you. The other thing I would say is if you're thinking about renting your property when you're not using it, you can absolutely make that number up and then some, because most condos during season in Naples and Sarasota are renting during season well over $6,000 a month. So to me, not bad. I would love to know down in comments your thoughts. Is that better or worse than what you thought? Let me know what you think.